Welcome to the 2011 Celebration of Excellence. I'm Eric Hamilton. I'm the Associate Dean of the Education Division in the Graduate School of Education and Psychology, which we fondly call GSEP. And on behalf of GSEP, I'm so pleased to see all of you here, all of you who have joined us to honor our students who have demonstrated excellence in their academic journey, as well as those who have supported them along the way. GSEP has a long tradition of engagement with its urban neighbors. For more than 50 years, we've been preparing teachers, administrators, and mental health workers for service in their communities. Building on that history of service, we developed GSEP's Urban Initiative to deepen the link between our professional preparation programs and the educational and mental health needs of those in urban settings. The unique structure of GSEP as a graduate school of both education and psychology provides us the ability to design interdisciplinary approaches to solving complex urban problems in both the educational and mental health spheres. Tonight we have the opportunity to hear from a member of our education faculty who is helping to lead the charge to prepare our students with the skills and dispositions to work effectively in culturally diverse, underserved urban communities for the long term. I'm pleased to introduce my colleague and to invite him, Dr. Anthony Coladas. Tony, I hope you are here this evening. I invite him to the podium. Now, I've been told a couple of times that I could excise his credentials and the discussion of his background, but I'm going to go ahead and let people know some of the wonderful things about you, Tony. By way of background, he teaches in multiple programs in GSEP. You know, we have a number of degree programs, and he teaches across our programs, especially courses in social and cultural foundations, multicultural education, and action research. Tony's also a research associate with UCLA's Institute for Democracy, Education, and Access, and at the University of California All-Campus Consortium on Racial Diversity. His research involves the Futures Project, an 8-year longitudinal study that looked at creating alternative pathways for first-generation urban youth to more effectively navigate the K-16 educational pipeline. Currently, Tony is the director of the Urban Parent-Teacher Education Collaborative, which we call UPTEC at GSEP, and the Education Collaborative Initiative Professional Development Programs. Both programs are designed to prepare pre-service and in-service teachers to work most effectively in urban schools. Tony has also published several articles and book chapters about his work. He regularly presents his research to educators, community groups, and at national and international conferences. Before becoming a university educator, Tony also taught as a secondary social studies instructor, coached, and worked as a college access advisor for low-income youth. He is also a current elected school board member in the Palos Verdes Peninsula Unified School District. Please welcome Dr. Coladas to the podium.
Good evening. This is very humbling. This is a beautiful setting, and I've been here many times standing there, and I'm very fortunate to be standing here with you tonight. I want to thank Dr. Hamilton for his kind introduction, and I want to thank you for taking the time to celebrate with us tonight. We're here to honor both our students and our members of our community that allow us to provide scholarships and opportunities for the next generation of educators and mental health providers. Tonight I'd like to share with you about my work that I've done preparing teachers in urban schools, and more specifically about preparing students for lives of purpose, service, and leadership. For those of you that have seen me speak, I often start with a lot of slides, a lot of demographics, a lot of statistics, and tonight I'm forced not to do that, which is a beautiful thing. However, I would like to share with you some research that's just come out of UCLA's Institute for Democracy and Education and Access. Dr. John Rogers and Rhoda Freelon have been studying specifically the pathways of males, more specifically African American and Latino males in California. And one of the things that they've done that I want to share with you to put a little bit of a little bit of the work we've done in context is they looked at every public high school in the state of California, and there's over 1,800. And then they wanted to say, well, how many of those high schools serve African American and Latino males? At least 20 students that are African American and Latino males in that school. And they narrowed it down to about 1,200. And from there, they wanted to look at, well, what's the statewide average rate of graduation? And what's the rate of those graduating high school in California that are actually able or have successfully completed the classes they need to attend a four-year university? And those rates are about 66% roughly for graduation, and about 25% of all high school students that are graduating in California are actually eligible to attend college based on the coursework that they've completed. So then in their research, they actually said, okay, well, we have about 1,200 schools that serve 20 or more African American and Latino males. And of those schools, we want to look at how many are meeting those average rates. And then on top of that, we actually want to see, okay, how many actually have 66% students graduating that are males of color, and how many of them are actually prepared to go to university based on their A through G rate. They found 3 high schools. 3 high schools serving African American males and 3 serving Latino males. 2 of those schools, one is located on the campus of UCSD and has a partnership funded with millions of dollars, and the other one is actually located in a community that has over 50% of the residents that are making over $120,000 in a family. So while we are here, we have much work to do, but we are also here to celebrate. And what I want to share with you are some stories that we can celebrate. We have done the work, and we are working towards shifting those pipelines, especially for males of color in the state of California. As Dr. Hamilton mentioned, I'm the director of a program called UpTech, the Urban Parent Teacher Ed Collaborative. I team teach with an amazing woman. Her name is Mary Johnson. She couldn't be here tonight. She really wanted to be. She's struggling with some health issues, so I hope you say a prayer for her and keep her in your thoughts. I don't think it's anything terribly serious, but you know, health issues are health issues, and I want you to keep her in mind. We are starting our 6th cohort of UpTech students. And what UpTech is really about is Mary and I team teaching a group of students that have decided they want to come to Pepperdine and they want to they want to teach in the inner city. They want to work in urban schools. We've had some amazing success because of people like you, the group here, the resources, the support, and my colleagues. 85% of the students that have graduated are currently teaching K-12 students. 85% of those students are currently working in urban schools or working with students with the highest needs. Some are working in private schools with students with severe disabilities. Some have gone on and also are in doctoral programs now, getting their doctorate in urban education. What I would like to share with you are stories of 3 students, 3 amazing young people that we're going to celebrate that were here over the last 3 years, that were at the celebration of excellence, and that the new students are now walking in their steps and standing on their shoulders. Jordan Gonzalez graduated in 2009, grew up in East Los Angeles, spent his high school years in Redlands, and in his application for the UpTech program he wrote, "I believe students have the ability and the potential to learn and excel in education and life, but they do not always have the support and assistance they need. I desire to invest in the lives of students, and I'm confident that even the most troubled students can succeed academically, socially, and emotionally." While here at Pepperdine, Jordan did his pre-service teaching at Southgate High School. He created a college access program to help students better apply and more successfully gain access to higher education. Upon his graduation, he taught at Lidwood Unified School District, and he's now at Fremont High School. Jordan is now working with some of our pre-service teachers that are currently coming through the program. This is a life of purpose. David Harry graduated the following year in 2009. He was born and raised in Los Angeles. He's actually a graduate of Frederick Price III School, which for some of you know is on the campus of the original Pepperdine University in LA. He actually moved back home with his wife and his young daughter. They gave birth, or I should say she gave birth, to another daughter, his second month in the program. And he was very proud, one, to graduate from Pepperdine and to be a part of UpTech. His first day working at a charter school as an as an English teacher teaching writing, he wrote this to his colleagues that night. He said, "I arrived at school an hour early to finish setting up and purposely sit in quiet. When I saw my name on the door, I couldn't help but smile inwardly, as if that little sheet of paper validated what I knew in my heart years ago. I walked in, took a deep breath, and said to myself, 'This is your class. Make it happen. That's what you do, David. Make it happen.'" He continued in his reflection, "It is an interesting notion to be oneself, to be aware of who one is and what one is, while being brave enough to communicate who you are to the world. This is what we hope to do with the educators we foster at Pepperdine. This is a life of service." And finally, Barbara Medina. She was here last year with her parents, beaming from ear to ear as a recipient of the scholarship at this celebration of excellence. Barbara wrote in her application, "Through my educational career, many people doubted my ability and determination to obtain any type of higher education. I was even asked if I, or when, would start cleaning houses. Although these people's ignorance and stereotyping served as an annoyance, these harsh words served as motivation for me." She graduated from San Pedro High School. She attended Harbor City College. She went to UC Merced. She developed a science lab at Montara Elementary School. And this past summer, she donated her time and developed another science lab at Holmes Avenue Elementary School. For those of you that are not aware, over 10,000 people have been laid off from LAUSD in the last 2 years. Many of them have been brought back, thankfully. But Barbara, up until September, still hadn't been hired. And on September 2nd, she emailed me and Mary saying the following: "Today I signed a 1-year contract with Central Unified School District in Fresno. I do not know if I'm teaching 3rd or 6th, but I do know I will have my own classroom. I officially begin teaching on Tuesday. Thank you for all your support and guidance, and being part of UpTech was one of the best decisions I ever made, and you can quote me on that." So I'm quoting her on that tonight. And Barbara, you are here with us. One of the things I really want to emphasize tonight is that sense of community. Mary and I have been very fortunate, both from the leadership at the university, from the leadership within the Graduate School of Education, our colleagues, that none of this would be possible without it. I would like to recognize a couple folks similarly that this would not be possible without. Is Donald Grant here tonight? Dr. Donald Grant? Donald is actually faculty in the School of Psychology and also is the director of the Urban Fellows Program, and I think you're going to hear a lot about that. Donald's done an amazing job, and it wouldn't be possible without him. Now it's really hard because I can barely see you. Are there any current UpTech students that are in the audience? Could you raise your hand and possibly, hi, oh, they're already here, this is good. Hi, be proud. You're going to hear all of their names later, but I wanted to acknowledge them because what's important to know about the UpTech students is they not only are saying that I want to consider and dedicate myself to working in an urban school, they're also developing service projects, and some amazing service projects at that. So they too are living lives of purpose, service, and leadership. Finally, I haven't told them I was going to do this, and it's not on any script, but are Wes Patterson and Sarah Davis around? They're probably working, is my hunch. Okay, in the back, please, everybody take a look, raise your hand. I never get the chance to thank these two, and definitely not publicly, so I want to let you know that I could not do the work I do without the, my gosh, without the two of you. They are constantly behind the scenes making sure that I have the resources and the opportunities that we need to be able to foster the spaces to have the amazing work that we've shared with you tonight. So I want to thank you two publicly for that. With that, I want to allow you from I want to thank you for allowing me the space to do the kind of work that I love to do. Thank you.
Tony, it's a privilege to be on the faculty with you, and we thank you for your passion for the needs of the underserved, and for leading the preparation of our students to make a difference while living lives of purpose, service, and leadership. It truly is a pleasure to serve alongside Tony. At this point, I would like to also thank our student musician, Kevin Enstrom. Kevin, are you still around over here? There you are. Kevin is an undergrad at the Pepperdine Malibu campus and studies under the Distinguished Professor of Music, Charles Parkening. So thank you again, Kevin. I now invite you all to make your way to the dining room for our dinner and for our program. Thank you very much.
We recognize the fields of study to which you endeavor and admire your choice to affect the world with purpose, service, and leadership.
I also welcome your guests and our faculty and staff, all of whom stand in agreement and serve as a support of the efforts you pursue. Also joining us tonight are members of the Graduate School of Education and Psychology Board of Visitors. And I'd like to introduce them. Dr. Rosalind Heyman, Dr. Melvin Music. Dr. Melvin Music, there he is, yes. Dr. Susan Rice, there she is. Mrs. Jenny Ricker, right there, and her husband, Pepperdine University Board of Regents member, Fred Ricker. The one and only Dr. Ernestine Thomas Robertson, there she is. Wow. And my very dear friend, Dr. Marilyn Wright.
Prints in the Sand. Many of you know that poem, I'm sure, by Mary Stevenson, and it was written in 1936. One night I dreamed I was walking along the beach with the Lord. Many scenes from my life flashed across the sky. In each scene, I noticed footprints in the sand. Sometimes there were two sets of footprints, other times there was one only. This bothered me because I noticed that during the low periods of my life, when I was suffering from anguish, sorrow, or defeat, I could only see one set of footprints. So I said to the Lord, "You promised me, Lord, that if I followed you, you would walk with me always. But I've noticed that during the most trying periods of my life, there was only one set of footprints in the sand. Why, when I needed you most, have you not been there for me?" The Lord replied, "The years when you have seen only one set of footprints, my child, is when I carried you." This poem was written by Mary Stevenson when she was only 16 years old. She had a very difficult childhood, losing her mother when she was 6. And it was only when she was in her 80s that she was able to find an old trunk that had the poem in it and to be able to prove her authorship of the poem. I always love this poem because I think not only of my Lord, but also of the many individuals, family members, and friends that have walked before me, sometimes alongside me, other times carrying me, and always lifting me up. I share this with you because as we consider legacies of those that have walked before us, I think Pepperdine is such a good example of this. So our founder, George Pepperdine, who literally gave his fortune to start this institution, the great university that it is today, he founded the university with the belief education should include the right outlook on life, a realization of our responsibilities to society, to our country, and to God. That people be taught that their place in this world is to serve and to give. I think of Ole Tegner, who was the first dean of the Graduate School of Education and Psychology. He's a legacy in public education in Los Angeles and also at Pepperdine. and he cared deeply about the education of children and teacher preparation. Many of you tonight are here and are recipients of a scholarship that's in his name. I also think of someone that, if you're one of our students, that you all know, and that's John Baker. He's one of our staff, but he's always present at our front desk, welcoming and smiling, helping us find our way, caring for each and every one of us that passes through the doors of GSEP. I could continue with a lot of names, including many of you here this evening, whose footprints have paved the way. Tonight I want to focus on each of you, our students, as the scholarship recipients. You're my heroes, the heroes of our story that are leaving footprints on our minds and hearts. And we've already heard about some of these that Tony shared with us earlier this evening. And we could tell many more stories like that of each one of you here in the room. You walk our halls, leaving your footprints, sometimes walking tall, sometimes walking small, sometimes walking independently, sometimes walking with colleagues, sometimes walking with the faculty, sometimes walking with your own students or with your clients. You're forming your legacy as your footprints leave single and multiple paths that transform the lives of those you teach, those you lead, those you counsel, and those that you serve. And I want to ask you a question. What do you want your legacy to be? You may right now be thinking, I just want to get through the semester. I'm not thinking about a legacy. But as we honor you this evening for your academic achievements, I'm proud to walk alongside you as you pursue your dreams in professions that embrace the whole person with care and concern. You are already creating an important legacy for meaningful service that speaks to a community, a nation, and a world in need. The educated person that Mr. Pepperdine envisioned. So I want to challenge you as you continue your studies to think about your legacy. How will you continue to lead a life of purpose? How will you continue to serve and lead? Thank you for sharing the footprints of your journey with us. We are indeed honored. And we as faculty and staff at the Graduate School of Education and Psychology receive as much or more than what you may feel that you receive in the classroom, because we learn about your story and you participate in creating those footprints that are truly making a difference. I want to also share the story of a legacy. I just learned that our president, Andrew K. Benton, was named a vice chair on the Commission of Higher Education Attainment. This is a national commission. He's one of 3 inaugural chairs that was nominated by the College and University Associations, and he represents the private school, and he's the only person serving that represents private institutions. So I suspect when he was sitting in your seat, he didn't think about the role that he might play nationally in his life much later. So he's also a legacy and leaving footprints in many places. So in keeping with our focus on excellence, I'd like to take a moment to honor the GSEP recipient of the Howard A. White Award for Teaching Excellence. The Howard A. White Award was created in honor of our former president, another legacy, to formally recognize the value and ceaseless dedication of our faculty members' commitment to teaching and learning. For GSEP, the award was bestowed upon Dr. Margot Condon, who's the Administrative Director of the Master of Arts in Education and Teaching Credential Program and a lecturer in our Education Division. Dr. Condon is not with us this evening, but I'd still like us to take a moment to pay tribute to her passion for education and service to GSEP. I believe she's taught for us for 25 years, something like that. So let's give her a hand. Give her a little extension. We want to continue yet another tradition of our dinner. Tonight, we're privileged again to incorporate Pepperdine University's Global Service Initiative, Waves of Service, into our celebration. With us this evening is the Director of the Waves of Service, Mr. Greg Porter. Greg, will you please come and share with us?
Thank you, Dean Weber. The Waves of Service movement celebrates, supports, and connects alumni in their commitment to volunteerism and careers of service worldwide. We envision Waves of Service becoming the most active alumni service movement in the world. Since its inception in 2009, Waves of Service has connected hundreds of alumni to other alumni, students, and Pepperdine community members who are serving together in nonprofit organizations across the nation. We've celebrated the incredible work of these dedicated alumni through thousands of social media connections, more than $15,000 given in awards to the outstanding nonprofit organizations of our Waves. More than 300 Waves of Service leaders who engage in careers at nonprofit organizations have been connected to others in the Pepperdine community, creating a vast network of Waves, serving with Waves that has directly involved many alumni of the Graduate School of Education and Psychology. In fact, more than 1 out of every 7 of our Waves of Service leaders is a GSEP alum. As part of the Graduate School of Education and Psychology, you are inextricably tied to Waves of Service merely because of the path that you've chosen, committing yourself to educating and improving the lives of others. While there are undoubtedly many great stories of service among this crowd, we'll be sharing the story of one of the greatest exemplars of a Wave in service tonight. I have the privilege to present $2,000 to a charity in honor of a highly deserving Pepperdine GSEP alumna. This award will support her work with the Sister Cities of Los Angeles Incorporated. Dean Weber, would you please join me in honoring this alumna?
The Graduate School of Education and Psychology's recipient of the GSEP Waves of Service Award is Dr. Ernestine Thomas Robertson. Ernestine, would you want to come forward? Well, I'd like to tell you about Ernestine. She's you can stay up here, Ernestine. Can't escape yet. She's a Pepperdine Wave through and through. She received all 3 of her degrees from Pepperdine. Now that's a true Wave. She received her Bachelor of Science in Political Science, a Master's in Public Administration, and her EDD in Institutional Management, with a dissertation focus on globalizing community college curricula. She also proudly serves on the Board of Visitors at GSEP. She was introduced a little earlier this evening. Dr. Thomas Robertson has been a cornerstone at Los Angeles Southwest College for more than 32 years. She began as a professor of political science, and she has recently retired as dean of the college. Revealing of her administrative abilities, Dr. Thomas Robertson supervised every academic, vocation, and technical discipline at Los Angeles Southwest College, with the exception of computer applications and office technologies. So that's quite a broad background. Her commitment to modeling a multicultural and global vision for the world community was reflected in her conceptualization, development, and organization of many innovative campus programs, such as the 8 International Education Day programs at Los Angeles Southwest College, where 7 cultures and up to 26 countries were represented, showcased, and celebrated. During her tenure and continuing today, she empowers many students, faculty, and staff with a profound message of purpose and hope. Throughout her life, Dr. Thomas Robertson's influence has made a difference not only in educational institutions, but in her involvement in many civic and professional organizations, both nationally and internationally. She serves as president of the Los Angeles Lusaka Sister City Committee and recently supervised the implementation of their Women's Entrepreneurship program in microfinance that's in Zambia. This project provided 10 women and 2 men with capital and an opportunity to start up businesses, make a profit, improve their quality of life, and create jobs for others. The microfinance project is designed to turn over capital through 2030, enabling a long-term sustainable impact on the economy and the environment in Zambia. So it is indeed an honor to bring attention to the impact that Dr. Thomas Robertson has made in the lives of her students, faculty, staff, community, and quite frankly, the world. So will you please join me in recognizing Dr. Thomas Robertson again.
Mr. Porter, as Director of the Waves of Service Program, I thank you and Dean Weber for that most distinguished introduction. I am humbled by the honor you bestow upon my work, and I truly do appreciate it. Provost Darrell Tippins, Vice Chancellor Miller, Dr. Susan Rice, member of the Board of Regents, and Dr. Ricker, Dean Weber, of course, and Associate Deans DeMaio and Hamilton, my colleagues, the Graduate School of Education and Psychology, Board of Visitors, Mrs. Claudette LaCour, Director of Alumni Relations, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the honor. I am truly appreciative. As president of the Los Angeles Lusaka Sister City Committee, it has been a privilege to represent Los Angeles and California in Africa and in the international community. This has been a special mission, actually, for me and my husband, Gene Robertson. The microloans component is the first phase of the Women's Entrepreneur Program, which enables, as Dr. Weber said, local women, in this case we had 2 men as well, to borrow startup funds, to create local businesses and or to improve local businesses and local farms in 9 of the contiguous communities in Zambia, with Lusaka, of course, being the capital city. My idea, as she indicated, was 10 women get the money, pay the money back, and 10 more women get the money, and 2 years, those 10 women pay it back, and then 2 more years from that, 10 more women, and on, as she indicated, through 2030. When one cycle of the payback fund comes back, it simply sets the stage, as she indicated, for the turning capital over. Each cycle then means that we create the kind of continuity where we're not looking for the monetary profit, because that certainly is not there, and there is going to be attrition in this kind of program. But as the original fund is replenished and new funds added, then we will then incorporate our second phase of the project, which is a clean water purification, irrigation for thriving small communities project, okay? And we feel that this is really critical because there are two particular compounds. One is Chisel, the other one is garden compound that we'd like to focus our clean purification water project in. We consider this vital to the development of a continent, the continent of Africa, that has actually enabled the development of the modern world, if you think about it. For example, without the resource of indium tin oxide, we wouldn't have 14 billion cell phones in the world, would we? Of the 192 countries in the world, that very small African country called Benin, largely underdeveloped as well, for that matter, that small nation fuels the modern technology of our world. For 2 months, our envoy, Ms. Lydia Mongerie-Brown, was on the ground in Zambia making this microfinance project happen. To our best estimation, ladies and gentlemen, we created at least 27 jobs before she left there after her 2-month stint. Thank you. We did not get a big fund from a corporation or a foundation. We raised private and personal money, and those individuals embraced the same conviction. Thus, they gave us their money. We were not looking for a monetary return on the money, as I indicated. We are, however, looking for outcomes beyond a monetary measure. We're looking for a way to address the poverty beyond the politics of government, beyond corporate politics, for that matter. We are not interested in organizations who want to use a finance project to grab people's land because a person didn't pay the loan back in a timely fashion. We are looking for the creation of an economic environment where people can eat, drink clean water, create some jobs, and a quality of life for themselves. We are trying to create a new standard, if you will, in economic development. And though I know many political leaders in Zambia, we took our project to the people who represent the heart of the land, because it is in the people that the nation truly thrives. It is there that we share the desire for voice and choice, the two major tenets of a democracy. This is where we address poverty beyond the politics of government. Like Dean Carlin and Jacob Appel say in their book, it's got to be more than just good intentions. Zambia just recently had an election, and I had the good fortune of knowing the president who just left office and the newly elected President Michael Sata, I know as well. Both were guests of the late Mayor Tom Bradley and myself many years ago. And while those relationships are beneficial, ladies and gentlemen, our mission must reach beyond the politics. Otherwise, we don't get as much done for the people in the heart of the land. The people have the heart that endures suffering. And Christ, of course, demonstrated that long suffering better than anybody in the history of our kind. Los Angeles Lusaka Sister City Committee has done more with a little bit of nothing than most do with a whole lot of something, money, that is. We are counting our miracles every day. If you get an opportunity, please do stop outside at that table and look at that PowerPoint presentation. When you look at the faces of those children with their feet in the water, please know that that same water may end up being boiled and used to cook with. Yet you will see joy on their faces. Something's very special about that phenomenon. And others of us, we have and more and more, and we want more, and enough is never enough. We ought to take a little more time to count our miracles. In closing, I'd like to say, quoting my own self, without question, without question of ideology, culture, tradition, or religion, there is not a country on the face of the earth, of the 192 of our countries, which has the economic, technological, territorial resources enabling it to sustain unto itself in isolation. One nation's resource, the indium tin oxide out of Benin, is the link to another nation's survival. Where would we be without those cell phones today? We are living in an interdependent world whereby no one nation has a monopoly on the oil, on the gold, on the wheat, on the technology, or the territory combined. Thus, it is our responsibility to work together, according other countries the same respect that we seek for ourselves. After all, that is the way we promote peace and the prospects of peace in our world. And it is a small world and getting smaller every day. By our work, ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of us helps to facilitate those waves of service, right, Mr. Porter? Thus, my 3 degrees, as Dr. Weber has indicated, from Pepperdine University. Thank you, my family and friends who have joined us this evening, and my mentees who are in the room, and thank you, Pepperdine University.
Well, talk about a legacy. Ernestine's certainly creating one, isn't she? If we think about the university motto, freely you received, freely give, Dr. Thomas Robertson certainly represents this Waves of Service award. So congratulations again, Ernestine. And might your family and friends please stand and be recognized? Ernestine's husband, Gene, and the other family here. Thank you for joining us in honoring Ernestine. This evening, as we celebrate the excellence found in the GSEP community, it's always my pleasure to invite to the podium a supporter of Pepperdine who lives out our university's mission as an alumna of the university. In this case, this particular alumna is from the Grazadillo School of Business, but she's also a current GSEP doctoral student and a patron of Pepperdine. So Mrs. Betty Renifo, I don't say it quite right, I don't have that great Spanish accent, Uribe is the Executive Vice President and Head of the Business and Personal Banking Division of California Bank and Trust, a position that she was just appointed to this month. And as a testament to her business value and personal character, her new colleagues are here tonight to support her. So we welcome the members of the California Bank and Trust, including President and CEO, Mr. David Blackford. With 25 years of experience in the financial services industry, Betty has held several senior level positions in retail banking, business banking, and strategic planning. She's involved in a host of community organizations, including serving as president of the Hispanic Outreach Task Force, the Ana Maria Arias Foundation Board, and the California Hispanic Chamber. In 2010, Betty was recognized as one of the most prominent Latinas in Los Angeles by Univision and one of the top 25 corporate elite by Hispanic Business Magazine. We are really honored to count her as a strong supporter of the Graduate School of Education and Psychology, so please join me in welcoming Betty to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be standing here tonight with my family, colleagues, and guests. I can see actually many individuals in this audience who can actually join me here at the podium. Alex Fortunati, people like Clemencia, people like David Blackford, Lori, and many professors who could actually be standing here with me. First, I'd like to congratulate the recipients, and what an honor to be standing here and sharing the podium with you and the legacy that you're leaving behind for many generations to follow. There are individuals who support you in your journey. You're not here alone. We don't do this alone. And it's really impressive to see just the individuals who were here tonight, who are just a testament of the work that you've been doing, not just for Zambia, but the example that you're leaving for the rest of us, who it's just really a legacy for the rest of us to follow. So thank you so much for an incredible example of servant leadership, and congratulations to you and your family. You know, 10 years ago, I attended Pepperdine University and received the executive MBA program went through the executive MBA program, and then 10 years later, I didn't realize it was going to take me 10 years to do this again, but I always thought that I'd come back to Pepperdine. And people often ask me why I chose Pepperdine to come back to. A lot of people get their master's and go to a different university. So allow me to share with you some of the foundation over which Pepperdine was founded. Pepperdine's mission statement talks about Pepperdine's values, where students are strengthened for lives of purpose, service, and leadership. Dr. Majidi knows that very well, doesn't he? Our vision statement talks about graduates who lead purposeful lives as servant-minded leaders throughout the world, not just in the United States, but throughout the world. George Pepperdine envisioned an institution that would transform students' lives. And I remember meeting Dr. Benton in Alex Fortunati's house before I entered the program, where he said to my husband, he said, "This is a transformational experience. This will transform your life." Much like George Pepperdine's words, where he envisioned an institution that really would transform the students' lives so that they would, in turn, impact culture. Individuals who feel the moral imperative to serve others sacrificially. Hence the school's motto, freely ye received, freely ye give. I'm reminded of a time in my childhood when my mother, in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia, she used to take the street sweepers off the street and bring them to the house and sit them at the dining room table, and she would serve them herself. And then she would proceed to go to our closet, my three brothers and mine, and take out the clothes and take out the toys and give it to the street sweeper and say, here, you take this for your children and for your family. Even when we came to the United States, when we became very poor, we went from riches to rags in 24 hours to the time we got here. My mother worked in a factory, and she got paid 25 cents for every pair of jeans that she sewed after being the lady of society in Colombia. I cleaned houses at the age of 12 and babysat to help pay for the bills at the house. And my mother yet still found a way to give to others that had even less than we had, even the groceries we got from our church. But there was always another plate at the table. There was always somebody that I shared the bed with, another young lady who maybe didn't have a place to stay. I'm also reminded of my father's funeral where it was standing room only, where I met people who were from his youth as well as contemporaries of his. And everybody kept running to me and saying, I have to meet you and tell you what a difference your father made to me, what a difference your father made for my entire family. Today, my family and I have an opportunity to make a difference for others, perhaps in a more significant way, as we have chosen to provide education for others who are not as fortunate as us. Education is the differentiator. When you're educated, nothing else matters. What you have here, nobody can take away from you. My husband, Juan Carlos, and my daughters, Alex and Sandra, are joining us tonight, just like they join me in every single journey that we empower on, that we forge. They are my backbone, my supporters, the ones who encourage me and who join me in making a difference, and the ones who stay up at night and my study partners for the last 2.5 years. To the students here tonight, I want to congratulate you for your choice in choosing Pepperdine, but most importantly, for choosing a higher education. And I have a couple of pieces of advice to you. To whom much is given, much is expected. Never forget where you came from. Once you graduate, you're going to go on to life, and you're going to get a job, and life will happen. You're going to get very, very busy. Don't get so busy that you forget to stop the clock and realize the incredible opportunity you have to make a difference for others. And the second piece of advice is align yourself when you go to find a company to render your services with. Align yourself with a company that shares your values. I want to tell you a little story. 2 weeks ago, I joined a great organization called California Bank and Trust. I was asked to lead their business and personal banking division. And before I joined, I got a call from Lori, our HR director, who said, we really don't want to intrude, but would you mind if we buy a table? We really want to support you. So joining us tonight are our CEO, David Blackford, our CFO, Eric Ellingson, and our HR director, Lori Poole, who drove all the way from San Diego to be here tonight. Also, joining us tonight are Carolyn Malloy, our HR director, Charlie Brona, and Tyler Slattery from our commercial banking division. I just met these two gentlemen tonight for the first time. These are true servant leaders who really seek to make a difference for our employees, our customers, and our communities. So I say to you tonight, surround yourself with people who are aligned with your values. I have. Always look to make a difference. and reach back to others who can use your help and support. And there are so many ways that we all can really help and support others, either through a legacy like my family have chosen to leave behind. And there's so many ways that we can do it, whether through your trust or through your leadership or through mentorship or through just lending a hand where it's needed. For us, scholarships are a way of leaving behind a legacy, a way of duplicating ourselves with other servant leaders who are empowered to make a difference for others. And I want you to always remember these words. Children are the messengers we send to a time we will never see. Thank you so much.
Don't we have wonderful individuals here at the graduate school, our students, and we're going to meet some more in just a few minutes as we are able to hear from a couple of our scholarship recipients. Thank you, Betty. Some great words of wisdom. I really appreciate them. Now we always enjoy hearing from some of our students, and we're going to be able to hear from two of them this evening and hear their reflections. One is a Pat Lucas Endowed Scholarship recipient and also the Urban Fellow recipient. He, I'm getting them out of order here, is a Master of Arts in Education and Teaching credential student, Mr. William Kim. Our second student speaker is Ms. Shelley Crosby, a Doctor of Psychology and Clinical Psychology student and the recipient of the Evelyn B. Blake Scholarship. William, will you please come forward and begin?
All right. Good evening. Okay. So before I start, to the professor who shall remain unnamed, this is a stopwatch. I promise I'll go less than 5 minutes. Okay. All right. Good evening. My name is William Kim. I'm a graduate student at the School of Education and Psychology, and by the end of July 2012, I will do everything that I can to earn a master's in education with a teaching credential in physical education. So to begin my story and my journey, I'll take you back at this very point 2 years ago. So in 2009, I was at another higher institution of learning, and basically, I dropped out of the program. And but sometimes in life, when you take a step back, you gain perspective. Oops. And I really can't believe I'm here at this dinner at this lovely hotel in front of all you ladies and gentlemen, speaking at this celebration of excellence. So for that, I thank you. But going back to my story, when I dropped out of the program in 2009, the only support system I had was my family and my church. And through my church, in 2010, the only goal that I had was this basketball camp, inaugural basketball camp that we're going to start, and of all places, in Canton, Mississippi. So I thought about what I was going to do, so I went back and then I enrolled in Santa Monica City College as in a beginning basketball class, not because of my skill level, because I can play a little bit, but but because I wanted to see how a professional coach taught the fundamentals of the game. Long story short, I met Coach Cascio, who's also the athletic director of the entire school, and he asked me if I could be part of the men's basketball staff. And that all happened within a 3-month period, from CSUN to SMC coaching staff. And it's not because of me just trying to do something, it's the Lord and the hand of God just utilizing me for whatever reason, and I thank him so much for that. Because at this time, the only person that I could really rely on was the Lord. And all I could do was get on my hands and knees and say, what am I going to do? And whatever I'm going to do, I want to do it for you. And then he chose basketball. Okay, so, all right. And so the season ended about 7 to 8 months ago. And it was the first time since 1999 that the men's basketball team won the conference title. So praise God for that. And I had to ask my coach, Jerome Jenkins, like, should I stay with you or should I really pursue a higher education of learning? And then he said, you got to stay. No. He said I should go, and so I'm here. Okay, now I'm here at Pepperdine. I've been at this school for about 7 to 8 weeks now, give or take. And I thank the Lord so much for me taking that step back and gaining perspective, because I'm here with all you ladies and gentlemen. And my faith is so much stronger. My goals are so well defined. And I just wanted to thank my colleagues and my friends for just their lives, and just watching them work so hard. It's helping me and stay motivated, so thank you. I just want to thank all the professors and their mentorship, because without them, because I've been going through a lot of the similar situations like I was going through in 2009, and they've been really helping me, so I thank you for the professors. And last but definitely not least, the donors. I just thank you for your sponsorship, because it's been a huge burden off of my family and my back, because I don't have to worry about, man, do I have enough money so I could put money in the gas tank to go to Southgate, back to Pepperdine, and back home. Or sometimes when I forget to sack my dinner, it's like, man, do I have enough money to run across the street kind of legally and then get a Subway? So I just want to thank everybody here, from the colleagues to the professors, all the way to the dean. So I thank you, and I'm just really excited to see how the Lord will utilize me through an inflated synthetic leather ball. Thank you.
And Shelley, would you come and share with us? Thank you.
Thank you. I was asked to come tonight to speak a bit about my background and what brought me into the field of psychology and where I'm headed. So I'd like to share some thoughts with you tonight. One of my favorite things about the field of psychology is the expectation that we each engage in a great deal of self-reflection. This is a common practice in my life, but I still never cease to be amazed by the journey that I've traveled. As true as of countless individuals, perhaps many in this room, I was raised in a family where financial struggles were a daily reality. Although the idea of a college education was with me from a young age, I would have never predicted that I'd be nearing the completion of a doctoral degree. By the time I'd reached 7th grade, I had decided that I'd follow in the footsteps of a few of my aunts who worked as nurses, and I decided that a career in the helping profession was meant for me. During my junior year in high school, I first became interested in the study of human behavior when I signed up for a sociology elective. And during that same period of time, the rural farming community where I lived was shaken by the unexpected deaths of a classmate who died in a motor vehicle accident, as well as a teacher who committed suicide. A grief counseling team was brought into the school, and yet I was struck by the realization that the people that seemed to be in the most need of help didn't seem to be getting the services. On reflection now, I think that it's my own experience with this grief and loss, as well as the observation of my classmates at that time, that really cemented my path towards becoming a psychologist. Despite my educational goals, my journey was difficult. I was one of the very first in my family to complete an undergraduate degree, and I often felt as though there was no one whom I could turn to for mentorship and advice. I navigated this uncharted territory by juggling both work and school throughout my undergraduate and graduate studies, and that resulted in a slightly meandering journey. After finishing my associate's degree, I moved from rural Oregon to Boston, Massachusetts, where I completed my bachelor's degree. And then I eventually found my way back west and ended up in Los Angeles, where I began working with a schizophrenia research lab affiliated with UCLA. I continued, as I was working at the lab, I realized that although working with the veterans who had schizophrenia was very rewarding work, I really was passionate about working more clinically with the individuals. I continued working full-time at the research lab and simultaneously completed my master's degree at Pepperdine. When it came time to apply to this ID program, I found myself torn between two strongly opposing forces. I truly wanted to become a psychologist, as I felt this was my true career calling. However, I could not comprehend the idea of taking on additional student loans, quitting my job, forgoing an income, and only being a full-time student, which was something I had never done before. I remember staring at my acceptance letter and wondering how I could willfully sign myself up for that much debt. And then I received the scholarship notification from Pepperdine. I had a conversation with Dr. Shafransky, and not only had I been awarded the Colleagues Grant from Pepperdine, but I was also selected for a 3-year award from the Evelyn B. Blake Endowed Scholarship. In addition to easing some of my financial concerns, this was also a very meaningful experience because I'd never been before selected as a scholarship recipient. During my time at Pepperdine, I've added many adventures to my life journey. During my first year of training, I was placed at the Union Rescue Mission in downtown Los Angeles, where I worked with homeless men and women, many of whom had a multitude of mental health concerns. Then during my second year last year, I completed a practicum placement at a youth corrections facility in Norwalk, where I worked with incarcerated adolescent men. And this year, I was honored to have been selected to work at one of the Los Angeles area VAs, where I'm now working with veterans who range from mid-20s to 60 years old, many of whom are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder and substance dependence issues. The clinical work at these sites has been immensely challenging, but on reflection, I realize that it's this very challenge that is the most rewarding. Based on my experiences earlier in life, I'm very motivated to provide services to those who might otherwise be unable to receive care and support. I'm now embarking on the last leg of my educational journey, and as like others maybe in this room, I'm preparing for internship applications, and I'm looking to apply to VA sites in California and around the country. With the excellent training and education I've received from Pepperdine, it's my hope to be selected for an internship and eventually become hired as a psychologist at a VA facility. I'd like to thank the Blake family, the Pepperdine faculty, and all of my friends and family who have helped this dream become a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. And I think we have some wonderful examples of excellence with us this evening, so we could applaud our speakers once again. Thank you. Continuing in the spirit of celebration, I'd like to take this time to recognize each scholarship recipient who's with us this evening. When I call your name, please come up and receive a certificate from Dean Margaret Weber. We will begin with the recipients of the Associated Women for Pepperdine Scholarship. Founded in 1958, the Associated Women for Pepperdine raises funds each year to assist deserving students who are members of Churches of Christ. Recipients are selected on the basis of financial need, merit, and character. With us this evening are Marissa Beard, September Hell, and Kenneth Zindler. The Benjamin M. Bendat Endowed Scholarship. This scholarship was established through an estate gift from Dr. Benjamin Bendat as a reflection of the Pepperdine spirit of strong values, excellence, purpose, and leadership. Recipients of this scholarship are students pursuing a degree in teacher education and recognized for academic excellence. The recipient with us tonight is Natasha Mallory. Next is the Chester H. Mccall Endowed Fellowship. Endowed in 2007 to honor Chester H. Mccall Jr., Emeritus Professor of Education, this fellowship is awarded to students who are pursuing a doctoral degree in organizational leadership. With us tonight are Zeb Sanders and Latanya Wood. Next is the Conrad and Hilton Foundation Fellowship. Established in the Psychology Division of GSEP, this fellowship is a permanent endowment to support Pepperdine's mental health treatment program for homeless and poor in LA County. Fellows receive training and supervision as they provide psychological services at the Union Rescue Mission Pepperdine Mental Health Clinic. Recipients here tonight are Alicia Agee, Lydia Hansel Dominguez, Elizabeth Romero, Jacqueline Spetzi, Via Strong, and Justin Underwood. Our next scholarship is the EDD Organizational Leadership Faculty Scholarship. The faculty of the doctoral program in organizational leadership established the scholarship in 2009 to support students who demonstrate excellence in the field of leadership and commitment to the ideals of the university. Tonight, we have with us Renee Dorn and Susan Finley. Next is the Earl V. Polyus Endowed Scholarship. This scholarship was established in 1989 in honor of Earl V. Polyus, former Dean of Faculty of Pepperdine College, in recognition of his contribution to higher education. His goals for each scholarship recipient include becoming men and women of integrity and purpose, while learning to give service to their fellow human beings. Scholarship funds are provided to students pursuing a teaching degree. Here tonight receiving the Earl V. Polyus Endowed Scholarship are Elizabeth Abend, Courtney Dahl, Amy Sakino, and Kimberly Wong. The Evelyn B. Blake Endowed Scholarship is awarded annually to doctoral students in the field of psychology who reflect the ideals instilled in Mrs. Blake during her time earning a bachelor's degree in educational psychology at Pepperdine. The recipient with us tonight is Shelley Crosby. Established in 1987, the Glen and Gloria Holden Scholarship Fund was made possible through the generosity of the Glen and Gloria Holden Foundation of Los Angeles. Awarded to doctoral students in either education or psychology, the namesake of this fund have strong ties to academics and Pepperdine. Mr. Holden is a retired United States ambassador and a member of the Pepperdine Board of Regents. Mrs. Holden is a former elementary school teacher. Recipients of the scholarship are Lauren Ford, Brian Lowy, Patraleka Mukherjee, Julian Rice, and Stephanie Young. Our next scholarship is the GSEP Diversity Scholarship. This scholarship serves as an extension of GSEP's commitment to diversity. Students of various ethnic backgrounds who are seeking a doctoral degree in either education or psychology are eligible for this scholarship. Recipients are selected based on academic merit. The recipients of the GSEP Diversity Scholarship with us this evening are Nardo Spallete and Ashley Coleman. The J. McDonald and Judy Williams GSEP Scholarship. Emphasizing their strong Christian faith, this scholarship supports students who are members of the Churches of Christ and seeking a degree in either education or psychology. The recipient with us this evening is Kathleen Blanco. The Karen L. Olsen Psychology Scholarship was established in 2005 through a gift from Alden Olsen, the father of Karen Olsen, a GSEP Master of Arts in Psychology alumna. This scholarship provides funds for psychology students attending the GSEP Irvine Graduate Campus in Orange County. With us tonight receiving this scholarship are Hoda Abuziab and Andrew Walker. The Marco Garcia Memorial Fellowship was established by Enrique and Lucy Garcia in memory of their beloved son Marco, who recognized a need for more Mexican-American psychologists. This fellowship is awarded to Mexican-American students pursuing a degree in psychology. With us tonight is Brenda Paris. The Master of Arts in Social Entrepreneurship and Change Scholarship is given to students enrolled in this program who are poised to explore root causes of pressing problems affecting individuals, communities, and nations, and develop models for sustainable solutions. The recipients are Kamar Chaffee, Kingsley Jones, and Samantha Walters. The Maddie Chisel Memorial Scholarship was established by Joe Chisel in honor of his wife, Maddie, who was a GSEP student. The scholarship is awarded to a female student working on her doctoral dissertation in education. And unfortunately, the recipient of the scholarship, Lisa Cooper, is not here this evening. The Michael Y.F. Chow Scholarship started with a grant from Michael Y.F. Chow in 1981. The scholarship assists qualified students from China. The recipient with us this evening is Howard Ho, who rushed over from staffing homecoming at Lusinger High School to be with us today. The Olaf H. Tegner Endowed Scholarship is for students pursuing a career in the teaching profession and honors Dean Emeritus Olaf H. Tegner, whose loyalty to Pepperdine as a student, professor, dean, administrator, and lifelong ambassador extends beyond 6 decades. The endowment was established in 1997 by fellow alumnus Jack R. Blackwell and his wife Jean. Students receiving this scholarship are Tracy Banks, Amanda Klein, and Irma Lemos. Adrian Sanchez and Michael Song. The Pat Lucas Endowed Scholarship is named in memory of the former director of student teaching at GSEP. Pat was a servant leader, mentor, counselor, and friend to the thousands of aspiring teachers she assisted. Students of the teacher education program are eligible for this scholarship. Recipients with us tonight are Tenny Avakian, William Kim, and Maribel Mena. The PsyD Contribution to Diversity Scholarship was founded to promote and ensure diversity in the Doctor of Psychology program. The scholarship began with a gift from a graduate of the program. Recipients are selected based on academic merit. Our PsyD Contribution to Diversity Scholarship recipient, Brian Louie. And Nathan Edwards. He's also here tonight. And finally, the Urban Fellowship was established to fulfill the goals of GSEP's Urban Initiative to better prepare graduate students in the fields of psychology and education to serve in under-resourced communities. Urban Fellows participate in an intensive professional training conducted by GSEP in partnership with public and private agencies. They are selected for their commitment to the highest ideals of the university. With us tonight are Christopher Arellano, Jessica Chow, Tamara Connor, Babette Dickerson, Christy Hui, William Kim, Ashley Pekarski, Kathleen Ramsey, Nicholas Smith, Rhonda Taylor, and Lauren Van Antwerp. Please. So please join me in congratulating all of our scholarship recipients who are here with us tonight. As we draw our program to a close, I'd like to invite a member of the GSEP Board of Visitors, Dr. Rosalind Heyman, to the podium. Dr. Heyman is a lifelong professional educator and dear friend of Pepperdine. As mentioned earlier in our program, she is the namesake for our GSEP Endowed Chair in Educational Administration. Good to see you.
Thank you for letting me play too. This is a great audience. I'm so proud to be part of Pepperdine. What a great evening. Pepperdine is a university that has heart. it's different from other universities. I'm so proud to be part of it. And I want to thank special people for their leadership, Provost Tippins, Vice Chancellor Miller, and our wonderful Dean, Margaret, who makes everything look so easy, but it really isn't. And our Associate Vice Chancellor, Stephanie, who helps us raise money. We're so lucky. Thank you, everybody, for caring. I guess I'm really overwhelmed to be here tonight. What a beautiful evening. So many scholarship winners. I'm so proud of you. To the donors who are here tonight, I want to say a special thank you for your generosity and for caring and for making life brighter. I learned about charity from a little old man in a nursing home where I used to go visit my mother. And he was in a wheelchair, and he taught me a couple of things. He taught me that he who gives while he lives knows where it goes. He also taught me that it's better to live rich than to die rich. To our scholarship recipients tonight, we have some wonderful donors. Take time to write them a little note, and even if it's their family or if they're no longer around and it's a foundation, the foundation is staffed by real live people, and so you need to write a note of thank you. I have a shoebox full of notes for scholarship winners, and when I get really old, I'm going to buy a wheelchair, and I'm going to sit in it, and I'm going to open my shoebox and read again my wonderful letters from donors. And to our students here in education and psychology, I want to tell you, hold on to your dreams. You have a great future ahead. And when you work with people, especially young people, you'll find that no 2 days are alike, and every day has at least one surprise. Working with people and molding lives is so much more interesting than sitting at a desk or sitting before a computer. I wanted to tell you that there's a lot of job security in the fields that you're going into, education and psychology. In all my years in education, we were only able to fire 2 teachers. One junior high teacher took a gun out of her purse and held it to the student's head and said, "If you don't do your homework tonight, I'm going to blow your head off." The mother didn't like that at all. And then the other teacher was a substitute, and the building was a 2nd-story building on a hot summer day, and all the windows were open, and the substitute teacher was reading the newspaper, but one student was dangling another student out the 2nd-story window. And I almost had a heart attack till we got him back in. Those are the only 2 teachers. Mostly they just call it the dance of the lemons and they move people around. But you learn from being moved around. Anyway, you really have a lot of job security. And I want to tell you that working with people is very special. This is a challenging world and a lonesome world. And when people come to work in the morning, you don't know what they've really been through. And the best principal I ever worked for was the one that got there early. And he stood at the counter and he greeted everybody when they came in. He would say, "Oh, Rosalind, you're wearing red. Red is your color." 2 days later, he'd say, "Rosalind, you're wearing yellow. Yellow is your color." It didn't matter what he said. He had a staff of 150, and we would have done anything for him because he asked everybody. He was there. You just didn't sign in a cold office. He was there and he knew you and he asked about you, and you had the feeling that somebody really cared. He was a wonderful principal, my favorite one. He died young. They said he died young because he went home every night and drank a bottle of vodka all by himself. And I don't know. Anyway, after he died, they named a school after him, and I thought that was pretty good. I wanted to tell you, take a minute to tell you how I got a scholarship. I graduated from high school, and I didn't get a scholarship. So I went to junior college the first year, and I had a little econ professor. He would give lectures sitting cross-legged on the desk, and he would always talk about we had a textbook, of course, but he would talk about his favorite economists that, as he gave his lectures. And the exams were essay exams. So the day before the test, I took myself to the library, and I memorized a sentence or two by his favorite economist, and I worked it into my essay exam. He thought I was brilliant, but I was only clever. Anyway, what he did was he liked me. He thought I was smart, so he got me a scholarship to UCLA the second year and a job on campus. And I still remember him in my prayers, because I think without him, I would have never gotten through four-year university on my own. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the scholarship. I told you that one. I wanted to tell you a little bit about how proud I am of you for following your dream and getting into education or getting into psychology. There's nothing more fun than working with people. And I wish you all the best. And I'm so happy to be part of Pepperdine, a university that really has heart. Thank you.
Roz, you are an inspiration and a cheerleader to all of our students, and they, like you, are committed to living lives of purpose, service, and leadership, and thank you for sharing with us tonight. My name is Sarah Davis, and as a Senior Advancement Officer, I have the privilege of working with our Board of Visitors, and some of whom you've seen in the room tonight, and they, like Roz, are committed and enthusiastic to our mission and our vision here at GSEP. And this has been a wonderful night to celebrate the accomplishments and the efforts of our students in our community. Thank you, Dr. Coladas, for your leadership and your commitment, not only to our students, but to the underserved communities that you together serve. And you are truly making a difference, both inside and outside the walls of the classroom. And congratulations to Dr. Margot Condon on her selection as a Howard A. White recipient. Congratulations also to Dr. Ernestine Thomas Robertson as the recipient of the Waves of Service Award here at GSEP. Your tireless service is an inspiration to all of us. And I thank Mrs. Betty Uribe for being here with us tonight. Your example of servant leadership encourages all of us to a deeper commitment, and it's a lasting legacy here at GSEP. Thank you for the distinct privilege of allowing us to be a partner to you. And I'd also like to thank William Kim and Shelley Crosby for tonight taking us along on a bit of your journey. To you and to all the scholarship recipients, our sincerest congratulations. And I encourage all of you that as you continue in your pursuits to never lose your passion for serving others. I also want to thank the supporters of our scholarship funds, the GSEP faculty and staff, Pepperdine administration and staff, and our Board of Visitors. This room tonight contains many dreams and ideals, and because of you, you've made it possible for so many of these to become a tangible reality. As we end our program tonight, if anyone has been inspired to support GSEP and our student scholarship programs, I invite you to use the donation cards that are on your table, and you can drop them in the box on the registration table in the back. And lastly, as we exit, will all the scholarship recipients meet at the staircase in the lobby for a formal photo with Dean Margaret Weber. Thank you all for being here tonight and for being part of the family that is the Graduate School of Education and Psychology. Thanks and good night.